Well, hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good day. I hope that you're ready to learn a little bit of English. We're going to be studying relationship verbs today. So we'll start in about 32 seconds once I make sure that everything is working properly. I think it is working properly. Yes, there we go. So nice. Such a nice feeling when everything is working properly. So again, we'll start in about 15 seconds. Today, we'll be learning about relationship verbs in this English lesson. I think it should be a good one. You can probably guess where the topic came from after Christmas and New Year's, but let's get ready to start. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson about relationship verbs. In life, we have relationships, we have family, we have friends, and we interact with these people. Sometimes we interact in a positive way and it's very happy. Sometimes we interact in a negative way and it's kind of sad or maybe filled with anger. Relationships are very complex. So I thought I would take the time today to look at 30 different verbs that we use in English when we talk about relationships. So once again, welcome to this English lesson about relationship verbs. Well, Happy New Year, everybody. That's the first thing I want to say. Hi to Key Park, Freddie Wolf, Judith, Kevin, Burgett, Know That, Ralph, Lolly Lolly, Mode Eggs, John Wedge. I think I'm repeating people now. Freddie Wolf was the first person who reminded me to say Happy New Year. Happy New Year to Mode Eggs, Freddie Wolf, Know That. I'm just repeating myself now. So you guys are very chatty, and as I scroll up, I see all the names. Hello to Hafiz as well, Hamin Noor. For those of you that don't know how this works, this is an English lesson about relationship verbs. If you have a question, please use the link in the chat to ask it, and then I will see if I can answer it. But I will be presenting about 30 different verbs and trying to explain them to you with a picture. No, that says, Bob, I sent you my question. Could you take a quick look at it to see if it's okay? I'm not sure, but it might be too personal. If it is, I'll just skip it over. I'm not too worried at this point. Oh, yeah, no, that's a good question. I'll answer that a bit later. No problem. Anyways, hopefully you're ready to get started. Please use the chat to have good, fun English conversations with each other. It can be a great place to learn English and to practice English while I'm doing the English lesson. Sorry, there's a hair in front of my face. So use it for that. And again, if you have a question, there's a link below. Did I remember to put the link below? I don't think I did. Give me 2 seconds here. I knew there was maybe one thing that I forgot to do. It happens sometimes where I forget to do something. So I will put the link in the description below. You might have to refresh your screen to see it, but it should be there now. I think we can get started. Let's do that. Here we go. Oh. I think I already clicked the button and got started by accident. Anyways, here we go. To be close. Now, in English, when you are close to someone, it can mean that you're standing beside them. But we also use the verb to be close to talk about when you are, when you really like a member of your family or a friend. It's quite common to hear someone ask a question like this: are you still close with your friends from university? Are you and your parents still close? And they're not talking about physically being close. They're not talking about whether your parents live beside you. What they mean when they ask if you're still close to someone, they mean, are you still friends? Do you still talk every day? Do you see them quite regularly? So I'm still quite close with my mom. As many of you know, my dad has passed away many years ago, but I'm still very close with my mom. It would be kind of odd to not be close with a family member such as your mom or dad. But to be close means to be in contact with someone, to see them regularly, and to talk to them regularly or text them regularly. It's sad when you hear someone say, oh, I'm not close with my brother anymore. I haven't talked to him in 5 years. That would be a sad situation. To grow apart. So sometimes people start to have different interests. When I was young, my brother and I had similar interests, and we still do today. But if we had different interests, we might slowly grow apart. I like computers. My brother likes computers. So we have stayed close. We really enjoy talking to each other about technology and computers. But let's say he started to be interested in horses, and I have no interest in horses. We might start to grow apart. So when you grow apart in a relationship, it means you don't see a person as much as you used to. You don't hang out with them as much. And it's kind of a sad thing, but it can happen. To get together. So this is why this English lesson is happening, because it was Christmas and we had New Year's here. So I got together with friends and family. When you get together, it means you have a special event. It means that you are in the same place as your family or friends. So for instance, my brothers and sisters, we got together 2 weeks ago for Christmas, before Christmas Day. And it was really nice to get together. It was really nice to all be at my sister's house and to enjoy each other's company. So when you get together, it might be at a house, it might be at a restaurant, but it's a time where you are just with family or friends and enjoying talking to each other. To make someone's day. So when you make someone's day, it can be a family member, a friend, or even a colleague. It means you do something nice that makes them happy. At work, if I knew my boss was having a bad day, I could bring my boss a coffee from Tim Hortons, and that might make their day. If Jen is having a bad day on the farm and I come home and help her do something, that might make her day. So when you make someone's day, it means you do something, you give them something, or you help them with something, and it makes them happy. So I would challenge all of you today to make someone's day. Do something nice for somebody today. To let someone down. This is the opposite. This is when you do something that annoys someone else or makes them sad. If you said, Bob, let's meet at the pier. And then if I went to the pier and you didn't show up, you would have let me down. So when you let someone down, you disappoint them. You do something that makes them sad. I'm trying to think of another good example. If I said to my family, I'll pay for all the food at Christmas. And then on Christmas Day, if I said, you all owe me $20, I would let them down. They'd be like, what? I thought you were paying for everything. So when you let someone down, you do something that makes them sad, maybe a little bit angry, more like sad or aggravated or annoyed. To have a falling out. When you have a falling out with someone, it usually means you disagree about something major. Let's say that a husband and wife are married and the wife wants to have kids and the husband doesn't. We would say that you're going to have a falling out. You're going to argue about that. You're going to have a big disagreement. Let me think of another example to have a falling out. If, for instance, my brother owed me $1,000 and when I asked him for the money, he said, I don't owe you any money. We would argue and we would probably have a falling out. After you have a falling out with someone, it usually means you aren't going to talk to them very much. You might start to grow apart after you have a falling out. To hear from someone. It's always nice to hear from someone, isn't it? It's nice when the phone rings or when you get a text message. It's nice to hear from someone. There are times where I'm unable to do a lesson on a Friday. And then a lot of you enjoy it if you can hear from me still. If I post on my community page saying no lesson this week. Maybe the phone rings and it's your mom or dad or brother or a friend from a long time ago. It's nice to hear from them. It's nice to talk to them on the phone. And you can use this in other ways as well. If you said, Bob, what are you and Brent, Brent's another English teacher on YouTube, by the way, what are you guys doing next summer? I would say, you know what? I haven't heard from Brent for a few weeks. Actually, the last time Brent contacted me, I was sick. He was like, hey, let's do a Christmas lesson together. And I was like, I am not feeling well. So anyways, I know Brent's here today. I'll chat with him in a bit in January to start making plans. But it's always nice to hear from someone. Either they phone you or they send you a text message. To get along. So this is a basic one. This simply means that you like being with a person, you like talking to that person, and you like hanging out with them. So for instance, I get along with all of my brothers and sisters. So if I see my sister in town, I stop and talk to her. I get along with almost all of my colleagues at work. No, sorry. I get along with all of my colleagues at work. And I think that means that if I see them, I will stop and talk to them. It means I'm happy to work with them. It's really nice when you get along with your coworkers because it makes the job a little easier. So when you get along with someone, it means you're happy to see them. You're happy to talk to them. They are just nice people to be around. To come between. So sometimes in a relationship, something might come between the two people in it. If this couple is fighting, you can see he's saying something about money. Sometimes how you spend money can come between people in a relationship and make them start to not like each other as much. So I think that's probably the best example. Sometimes when two people are in a relationship, like a romantic relationship or even married, one might like to spend money and one might like to save money. And that can come between them and start to make them not like each other as much. Sometimes bands will break up because one person will want to go on tour and do lots of live concerts, and another person in the band wants to stay home and start a family, and that can come between them. So they find it difficult to be on the road. To become friends. So, believe it or not, when you meet people, you can eventually become friends with them. So this happens a lot, I notice, with older people who go on trips in the winter. They will often become friends with people that they go on the trip with. Sorry, let me explain that a bit better. Sometimes older people will go on a cruise. A cruise is going on a big boat with lots of other people. And on the cruise, you might meet other people and you might become friends. So whenever you meet someone, if it's someone that you enjoy hanging out with, you might eventually become friends. So at this point, you're not friends, but in the future, you might become friends and then you might hang out more. Hey, let's look at some questions. Here we go. Let me see here. First question from Know That. Hello, Bob. Personal question. Is there anyone in your acquaintance or relatives who you think it's a pity that you've lost touch with over time? Thanks in advance, Bob. So my mom's family is very large, and I don't see my cousins on my mom's side of the family very often. I've actually lost touch with some of them. The reason is because age-wise, there's a big range. Like some of my cousins are in their late 60s, and some of my cousins are in their probably late 30s. Also, my mom's family, most of them moved far away from here, so I don't see them regularly. My dad's family, I actually see more often, but I would say yes, relatives I've lost, and it's a pity. It's too bad because my cousins are very, very nice people. Let's see. Judith says, Happy New Year, Bob. Thank you. Do you think karate can help someone be a better person to form a relationship? What's the meaning of karate? Thank you. Have you ever done it? What kind? So, first of all, any kind of club you can join always has the possibility that you will meet people and you'll be able to hang out with them. Okay, so karate is a very social activity. You're going somewhere with other people. You're doing an activity with them, and you have the same interest if you're doing it. I don't know what the meaning of karate is, but I do know that it is a type of martial arts, originally from Japan. We also call it self-defense that you can take. And have I ever done it? Yes, a long time ago. When I was 19 or 20, I did karate for about 6 months. I can block this way, Anyways, it was a lot of fun, but it was too expensive. I didn't continue doing it. Ooh, here we go. Mumin Mirza. Hello, Bob. Can you tell us, how did you start your relationship with Jen? Well, that's a good question. I'm not going to give out too much private information, but Jen and I met through friends. So when you meet through friends, it means that you know some people and you're friends with them. Jen knew some people and was friends with them. And those friends kind of overlapped. So we eventually were kind of seeing each other every once in a while, because when this friend group did things, sometimes this friend group was there as well. And then eventually I met Jen. So that's as much detail as I'll give right now. But that's a good phrase, though, when you meet through friends. It means that you find a partner, a romantic partner, because a friend of yours knew a friend who knew that person and maybe introduced you, or your paths crossed. There's another one. Okay, from Muaz. Hello, Bob. First, I would like to say to you that may God bless you and your family. Thank you. My question is, how much time does it take to have a Canadian accent? Well, that really depends. I find that we have international students at our school. Some of those students have been here for 2 or 3 years, and some of them have a very good accent. But it does vary from person to person. I think some people find it quite challenging to perfect their accent. So it's hard to say because it's different from person to person. Let's see here. I was going to scroll back in the chat. Oh yeah, Brent is here. Hi, Brent. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, Brent. Are you back at work, Brent? I hope you're not. I'm not back at work yet. I have till Monday still. No, that says karate, or karate means empty hand, if I remember correctly. Okay, here we go. New year, new mode. Hey, Mr. Bob. I haven't seen you live since last year. Yeah, since last year. Do you think it's normal for friends to grow apart, or should good friends always try to keep in touch? Here's what I know at my age. When you meet someone, like Jen and I met and we got married, or maybe you meet someone and you just decide to spend the rest of your life together. At the point where you start having a family, you might have friends that don't. And that can make it so people grow apart. So for me personally, I'm still friends with the friends who started having kids at the same time as me. But I've kind of grown apart from people who didn't have children. And it's not like a decision you make. It's just how life goes sometimes. When my friends who are single do things, they don't want a bunch of kids coming with sometimes. So eventually you grow apart. So I think that's pretty normal. I do think it's good to keep in touch, but I also know that for me, beyond a handful of really close friends, it's hard to find time to see people. So Jen and I try to do that, but it's tough. So you do eventually grow apart. From DNK, hello Bob, can we be friends? Let's have a friendly relationship between a Canadian and a Nepalese. Well, friends in what sense? Like, I feel like the term friend online is a very light version of friendship, right? Like, people are friends on Facebook, but they're not really friends. So unless you move here and I end up hanging out with you, I don't think we're going to be like best friends, but we can certainly have a friendly relationship. From Redfish, hello Bob, I wanted to ask you that, have you ever had a conflict because of different opinions? Yes. So it's a little tricky. I don't want to mention any of them, but there are certain, you'll notice I don't do lessons on politics or religion or sex or anything like. I try to avoid what are called the hot topics, where people get very, very annoyed. But yes, I have had political differences with people I know. That's an interesting one. Let's see. Brent says, I also have until Monday before I need to go back to work. Jamie is not so fortunate. Oh, so you're flying solo today. So Yeah, have you guys seen Brent lately? He's clean shaven and his hair looks great. I think the work you had done, Brent, is looking good. Okay, where am I at here? Oh, let's do, yes, one more question. Modu, what does fair weather friend mean? A fair weather friend is someone who is only friends with you when your life is great. Sometimes if you have lots of money and you're happy, then that person is friends with you. But then if you go through a time in your life where you just need help and you're not happy or you're going through something, that person doesn't hang out with you. So a fair weather friend is not the best kind of friend. Okay, let me have a sip of water. Let me read through the chat a bit. I wish everyone peace, love, hope, and do more good things this year, says Katerina. I believe that's a great thing. Bob, what's your favorite chocolate bar? So the quality of chocolate has gone down, in my opinion. So I don't have one right now. Although Ritter makes a chocolate bar, dark chocolate with almonds. That's pretty good. I should get back to the lesson. Happy old year, says Ahmed. Yes. Oh, yes. Mumin Mirza, why I can't have another question. Yes, I know. I do limit it to one question per person. So sorry about that. Otherwise, it kind of gets a little bit crazy. So, okay, let's get back to the lesson. Here we go. To drift apart. So earlier we had the phrase to grow apart. To drift apart means exactly the same thing. If you are friends with someone, or even if you are married to someone, you can drift apart. It means the things you like doing and the things you are interested in are starting to become different. So Jen and I like doing a lot of things together. We like going shopping together. We like just driving around. Like when we drive to market, we enjoy driving together. We enjoy selling flowers at market. But if I stopped liking all the same things as Jen, we might start to drift apart. So it means that you like different things, and because of that, you start to talk less and you spend less time together. So it's not a nice thing, but when you grow apart or drift apart, it just means, yeah, you can see in this picture, right, that people are just kind of going their separate ways. To ask out. This is the part where Bob gives relationship advice, like romantic advice. So don't, you know, when I say things like I don't know much about science, I don't actually know much about relationships, but when you ask someone out, it means you ask if they would like to go on a date because you are interested in them in a romantic way. So this person, I heard recently that people ask each other out by texting now, not in person. So I really like talking with you. Would you like to grab coffee together sometimes? This is probably a classic way to ask someone out. So if there is someone who you work with, or maybe you've met through friends, you've gone out with your friends, and then there's some other people's friends there, and you meet someone and you like them, you might ask them out. You might say, hey, I had a really good time tonight. Do you want to go out just the two of us sometime? Or you might send them a little text message saying the same thing. But it means you are interested in them romantically. Okay? So it means that you are attracted to them and you would like to get to know them better. To fall for someone. So after you have gone on a few dates, you might start to fall for someone. Again, this is a verb for a romantic relationship. It means you are, I would say, starting to fall in love. I don't know if you're in love. Like there's different stages, right? Like you're interested in someone, you're attracted to someone, you start to spend time with them. Eventually you kind of fall for them, like you're falling in love, and then eventually you are in love. But again, obviously this is something for the romantic people out there. To date. So this is a stage in life where you don't live together. And so you spend time either going to restaurants, to movies, to festivals. You might go see a sports game, like you might go see the Toronto Maple Leafs. You are dating. When you date someone, it means you regularly see them. A lot of times when people are dating, they'll see each other every Friday and Saturday night, or they might see each other once during the week. and once or twice on the weekend. So you definitely start to spend time with someone because you are very interested in them and they are very interested in you in a romantic way. To go steady. I think this is an older phrase. I don't think this is used anymore. But when you go steady with someone, it means that you basically have committed to seeing them all the time and you're not interested in other people. And so you end up doing things like, I'm not sure what's all in this picture, going for walks, getting flowers, going for bike rides. But anyways, you might hear this on a TV show or in a movie, but I don't know if the verb to go steady is common anymore. But it means to regularly go on dates with the same person for an extended period of time. To break up. So sometimes things don't work out. Sometimes people are dating and they date for a while and then eventually they break up. They decide to go their separate ways. So when you break up with someone, it means the relationship ends. So when you break up, often they'll say, who broke it off? And that means, did Joe break it off or did Jill? Who ended the relationship? Sometimes people will say it was mutual. That means both people decided they didn't want to be together anymore. But it's sometimes sad. Sometimes you'll know someone who's dating someone and you like that person. And then a month later, they'll say, oh, we decided to break up, so we're no longer together. But that's how a relationship would end. To go your separate ways means the same thing. It simply means the relationship wasn't working, so you decided to go your separate ways. Now, this doesn't have to only be used for romantic relationships. If two people own a business together, they can decide to go their separate ways at one point if they don't want to be business partners anymore. To have it out. So sometimes people argue, and this is a phrase that is very common when we talk about people who are arguing. They're going to have it out. So someone might say this, my brother keeps borrowing my car, and when he brings it back, the gas tank is empty. I'm going to have it out with him. That means you're going to say to your brother, stop doing that. It's really annoying. Hopefully you don't yell like this guy here. But when you have it out, it means something in a relationship is bothering you and you've decided you're going to talk to the person about it. Maybe your boss keeps giving you extra hours and keeps making you work Saturday. You might say, I'm going to have it out with my boss. Not a good move, by the way. You probably shouldn't argue with your boss. But you might say, in the past tense, you might say, I had it out with a colleague last week and it just didn't end well. So when you have it out, it means you argue with someone. To make up. So in a romantic relationship, this means that after a fight, you decide that you want to apologize, or the other person decides they want to apologize, and you kind of talk it through. I'm trying to define make up without saying make up, but when you make up with someone, it means that you were in a relationship, you had a fight, and now the fight is over and you've decided you still want to be in a relationship. So usually you apologize to each other and then continue on. To settle down. So when you settle down, it usually means it's the point in your life where you're going to start a family. Okay. You might get married and start a family. In North America, often people just move in together. So I'm not sure around the world how things work. Generally, people get married and start having kids. But in Canada, you can also just move in together and start having kids. And we usually refer to this as to settle down. So someone might say, hey, is your cousin still going out to the clubs every night and dancing till 2 a.m? And you might say, no, he met someone and he's decided to settle down and they're getting married in a month and they're planning to start a family. So when you settle down in life, it means you're going to stop doing all the things that single people usually do. And you're going to start doing the things that old people like me do. You're going to get married, have kids, buy a minivan. All of that would be indicating that you are deciding to settle down. To hit it off. When you hit it off with someone, it means that you get along. It means that you are happy to be with them. It means that you enjoy their company. So it looks like these guys have hit it off. I actually hope this old guy doesn't fall out of the wheelbarrow. That looks a little bit dangerous, but who knows? But let's say Jen said, we're going to go visit some of my family who you've never met before. I could say, oh, I hope I hit it off with them. That means I hope that they're nice people and I enjoy hanging out with them and talking with them. The opposite isn't nice. Sometimes you don't hit it off with someone. When you don't hit it off with someone, it can be a little bit boring, annoying, kind of hard to say, but it's nice when you hit it off with someone. I think in the chat during these live lessons, everyone tends to hit it off well with the other people. They get along and it's really nice. Hey, let's do some questions. Let's go to, what did people say? Oh, we're almost at 400. Yeah, I think we clipped over 400. That's pretty cool. 417. A lot of language learning goals for the new year, says Mode. Yes, definitely. Yoshi says, hi, Master Bob. I'm coming after my gym friend Eric, the Canadians lesson. I'll learn from you now. Good stuff. Okay, let me get members only chat on. And we will do members only chat for a bit. By the way, if you're new here, what is happening right now? So as I do these lessons, there are 3 parts to the lesson, and there are 3 parts where I answer questions from viewers. The first section, I answer questions from the list that you can use by clicking the link in the description below. This portion, I answer directly from members in the chat. And then I also answer questions from the queue as well. And we will get back to the lesson momentarily. So if you are wondering, why isn't Bob teaching the lesson anymore? I will be in about 9 minutes. So let's go with one question. Here we go. Wait, that's the wrong button. From Majid. Hi, dear Bob. Happy New Year. Have you ever been in any relationship with Iranian people? I'm from Iran. I would like to know your comment about us. All I know is that we have people who have moved to Canada from Iran, and they're very nice people. That's all I have to say. I haven't met a lot of people, but generally most immigrants who come to this country are very, very nice. Let's see here. Let's jump down to the chat. John says member only chat Mode. I think he's reminding Mode that it's members only. No, that says, oh, let me just check something, everybody. Oh, yeah, we're good. From Know That, Bob, may I ask you how your New Year's Eve was at the end and how were the first days of the New Year so far? Thanks, sir. I don't really want to talk about it because, no, I'm just kidding. Our New Year's Eve was great. But yesterday, 5 people in my house were sick. It wasn't food poisoning. We know that because other people who were at our house didn't get sick. But Jen, myself, and 3 of my kids were really sick yesterday, like that kind of sick. I feel great now, though, so I don't know exactly what it was, but we do know one of my kids was sick 4 days ago. And another one of my kids was sick 5 days ago. Yes. So did I get that right? Jen and I and 3 of the kids. Yes. So it was kind of going around. So anyways, New Year's Eve was fun. New Year's Day was not fun. Mode says, I haven't heard that joke since 2024. Mode's starting to use the dad jokes a lot, I've noticed. Eva, still no snow. We had snow. It's actually mostly gone this morning, but it has been up and down. Brent gifting English lessons. Awesome. Thank you very much. Jeff Cow was gifted a membership from Brent. Thanks, Brent, for that. That's awesome. And then Know That. Oh, and a small addition regarding New Year's Eve. Did you have your own fireworks? No. I know you thought I should, but I did not. It's not that common to do fireworks here on New Year's Eve. I think because it's usually quite cold outside. It's not the best time. Let me just review here. Mode says, have you ever been in a situation where you felt like you were third wheeling? It's a very awkward place to be, eh? Yes. So when you're the third wheel, it means you're out with two people and you realize that they're actually interested in each other romantically. So maybe you and a couple friends go out, and let's say Bob, Jack, and Jill go out, and then Bob halfway through the evening notices that Jack and Jill sit really close together and they're only talking to each other. That would be a situation where I'm the third wheel. Okay. Obviously they like each other. Lolly says, did Oscar and Walter get New Year presents? They got Christmas presents. They got dog bones for themselves. John Wedge, I was on vacation until yesterday. I came back today and I'm happy to see you all here. Happy 2025 with projects moving forward this year, guys. Yes. It's exciting, isn't it? When a new year starts. I noticed that when I opened up YouTube on January 1st and January 2nd, that all of the channels I watched all of a sudden are putting out, I think everyone has a plan to put out more videos and that kind of thing. So it's kind of fun. I don't have huge plans except to be a little more consistent. Although the video for this week for my second channel isn't coming out till tomorrow. So I'm not doing very good. Know that. Besides having to take your kids back to university, what else do you have planned for the last days before you have to go back to work, Bob? Thanks in advance. My plan is to actually work. I have to have a certain amount of stuff ready for Monday, and I left the building without having done that work. So I have a few little things I have to get ready. So I probably will spend a bit of time this afternoon and a bit of time tomorrow getting stuff ready. So Mode says, I like how Lolly always fights for Oscars and Walter's rights. Yes. Sorry that you couldn't see them in the live stream, but they do show up once in a while. Lolly says, haha, I agree. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to put this could be a tricky one to answer. Fritz says, hi, Bob. Happy New Year. Is there a difference between the two words date and appointment? Okay, so if two people like each other romantically, they can go on a date. But if people at work want to have a meeting with me, we can set a date. So if they say, hey, we need to talk about next semester, I might say, okay, let's set a date for a meeting. So it's different. Okay, see the difference? An appointment, we usually use that word to talk about going somewhere where you have to call and tell them and ask for a time when you can come. So you could have an appointment at the doctor's office. You could have an appointment at the dentist's office. So that's usually what an appointment is. When parents come to talk to me at school, they might ask for an appointment to talk to me. So it's just a little bit different. Hopefully I explained that well. Brent says, you have the best area for fireworks. My brother had to stop because the neighbors called the police on him. Yeah, I could do fireworks and no one would mind. And I think there are laws here. Lolly says, thanks to Mode. No, that says, thanks a lot for your answers, Bob. No problem. Garima says, as you're also learning French language, Bob, and I also want to learn French language, but I don't know how. I watched some videos on the internet, but it didn't work. So I think it has to be part of your learning and not all of your learning. So for me, the three things that help me the most when it comes to practicing learning another language is talking to my French friend once a week, reading as much as I can in French. And then I do like apps. Like I worked through like the free version of a couple apps like Busuu and forget what the other one was. Memrise I did for a while, and then Duolingo. Some people like apps, some people don't. But those three things were very helpful for me. So make sure you are doing more than just watching YouTube. Freddie says, Bob, last year, a week ago, I sent you a joke about a guy who cuts much wood for a warm winter. Were you able to read it? Thank you. I did not see that joke. I haven't been good at looking at comments, though. I will look for it. Mode says, did you sing Auld Lang Syne on New Year's Eve? The song is about catching up with old friends, right? So it's kind of related to this topic. It's not a common thing to sing in this part of the world. I don't know if it's kind of an old-fashioned thing. That's a tough one. I'm familiar with the song. You'll hear it on TV, but normally we just say Happy New Year and give everybody a hug, and that's it. No, that says Bob's farm would also be perfect for a solar park. Oh, yes, it would. Freddie Wolf says, in Canadian Quebec French, to fall out is translated tomber en amour. Ah. Is it? We'll see. I'll have to look that one up. Let's see. Where's my questions? There we go. From Lena. How did you meet your friends? Perhaps you have interesting stories. I think school, like one of my friends I've known since I was 6. I have a couple friends that I met in high school. And then, yeah, I think most of that's what I would say. Do I have any interesting stories? No, not at all. So from Diligent Learning, have a nice rest of the day. Bob just popped in to ask if you've ever heard the words quench, quenchable, unquenchable, and quencher. Thank you. So we don't use the word quench a lot, but if you're thirsty, water will quench your thirst. If you drink a lot of water and you're still thirsty, you might say that you're unquenchable, but that, I don't even know if that's a real word. And then quencher is actually used here to talk about a drink you can buy. So they have thirst quenchers, which is a drink, I think, at Tim Hortons. So let's see here. John Wedge says, hey, folks, just so you know, the baby's room is almost ready and is scheduled for February 18th. Melissa is coming. Very cool. Awesome, John. Congrats again. And yes, I should get back to the lesson, shouldn't I? Let's do that. Let me turn off members only chat. Thanks to all of you who have been patiently waiting. Let's go back to subscriber mode. There we go. And let me do a little check here. Sorry, I just got lost in thought here for a sec. There we go. Okay. Everything is working correctly. Let's get back to the lesson. To keep in touch. Did I do this one already? No, I didn't. Oh, to hear from, I did. Yes, to keep in touch means to regularly call someone or regularly email them or text them. So it's good to keep in touch with people if they live far away. It's good to keep in touch with your parents if they don't live in the same town as you. So it's just good to keep in touch. You can use this to talk about like seeing someone in person as well. But generally when we say, hey, do you keep in touch with your friends from university? You can say, oh no, we've kind of lost touch. We don't keep in touch anymore. Which is the next one, to lose touch. Sometimes when someone moves far away, their life is busy, your life is busy, and you lose touch with them. So it's not the same as growing apart, because you probably still enjoy talking to that person. It's just that, yeah, the best example I can give is if you have a friend who moves to another time zone, and then the time difference makes it hard to talk to each other, sometimes you start to lose touch. And then when that person comes back to your country, you have an opportunity to get together with them. But sometimes you lose touch. To put up with, yes, sometimes you just have to put up with someone. Maybe your brother or sister is annoying, but they're your brother or sister. You have to love them and enjoy their company, so you put up with them. Maybe you have a boss who watches everything you do, but you really need that job. So you might just have to put up with it until you can find a new job. So when you put up with someone, it means that you endure their behavior. That's kind of complex. I guess they don't make you happy. They don't make you sad. You just have to live with them. I'm not describing this one well, but I think the boss example is good. If your boss is mean, you might have to put up with your boss for a few more months until you can get a different job to move on. So sometimes relationships end, sometimes jobs end, and sometimes you just need to move on. This is probably a bad picture because it doesn't mean to actually move somewhere. But let's say emotionally, I was very, very sad because a friend of mine doesn't talk to me anymore. Eventually, I have to stop being sad. I have to stop thinking about it and I need to move on. So when you move on, it means you're having negative emotions, but you need to get past them. You need to start having positive emotions to get on. We do not use this phrase in Canada. At least I don't. I think this is very British. We say to get along. I think they say to get on. It means to enjoy people. Like Joe gets on with Fred quite well. Okay. Here we would say Joe gets along with Fred quite well. So I think this is very British. So I threw it in there for those of you that like the more British version of everything. To look up to, I think I've covered this in previous lessons. It means that you admire someone, you respect someone, usually someone who's older than you. Often a son will look up to his dad, or you might be younger and there's older people at work that you look up to. It means you respect them, you admire them, etc., etc. To catch up, when you don't see someone for a long time, when you get together, you tell each other what has happened in your life. You catch up. So if I go and see a friend who I haven't seen for 2 months, we'll talk and we'll catch up. It means he'll tell me what happened in his life and I'll tell him what happened in my life. We will basically, there's a certain amount of information that we don't know about each other, and we will explain that until we are to current day. We are caught up. To fit in. It is really nice to fit in. When you are young and let's say you go to a new school, you hope that you will fit in. When you fit in, it means that people like you like them, and you enjoy the place you are at. When you start a new job, it's important to fit in. Hopefully everyone at the new job likes you, and hopefully you like them. And then if someone said, how's the new job going? Are you fitting in? You could say, oh, it's really nice. I fit in right from day one. Everyone liked me and I liked everyone else. To patch things up. This is very similar to making up. But this doesn't have to be in a romantic relationship. You can patch things up with someone where the relationship has gone wrong. So if you've grown apart, if you've lost touch, if you've broken up with someone, if you don't get along with someone anymore, you can patch things up. It means you want to be a friend again. You want to have a good relationship. Let's say 2 brothers argue and then they don't talk for a year. One brother might call the other brother and say, hey, I think we need to patch things up. I'm sorry for what I said. And then hopefully there's an exchange of apologies. And then the relationship can begin anew. As brothers, they now get along. Maybe a couple has broken up and they've decided to patch things up. It means they're now together again. That's the end. Well, that came fast, or not really. It's 9:16. So, okay, let's do some questions. And a couple things before I do questions. One, there is a live lesson tomorrow at 10 a.m. Q&A lesson. It will definitely be indoors in January. And this lesson will come out in a few days in a shorter version. I will edit out all of the viewer questions to make a nice 25-minute lesson for you. It's very important that you watch it again or listen to it again to help you to understand what we talked about today. But hey, let's do some more questions. So Vagif. Hi, Bob, the Canadian. What do you think the main reason is for divorces increasing from day to day or relationships coming to an end? So I don't know the main reasons for divorce. So divorce is when 2 people are married and then they decide to legally separate. So they're no longer married after they go to court and get separated. I do know people fight about things. So maybe it's money. Maybe it's the things that you want to do. Maybe one person wants to travel, the other person doesn't. Maybe one person wants to have children and the other person doesn't. Sometimes people will cheat on their spouse. So that means that they have a romantic relationship with someone outside of the marriage. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I don't know. I think if you want my general feeling. It's that I don't want to like speak too strongly, but I do think being in a relationship means you have to be willing to give a lot, and it can take a lot of energy. And maybe that's a good way to say it. I know that many people who are watching probably have been in relationships and aren't anymore. So I'm not someone who's going to judge you. But I do know that, it definitely is something that is happening more and more. From Jack, how long for the live stream today? About another 5 minutes, and then we're done. And then Badnaz says yes. Hey, John Wedge says, thanks for the lesson. No problem. Hey, Vitor's here. Hi, Vitor. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Mode says to Vitor, haven't had a chat with you since last year. Freddie Wolf says, there is a 6-hour delay with Bob. Nevertheless, it's easy to remain in touch with Bob. Yes. As long as I'm answering comments, it's easy to keep in touch. Let's see here. No, that says, thanks for the great lesson and wonderful hour, Bob. It was so nice hanging out with you. I wish you and your family a lovely Friday. Take care and enjoy your day. See you tomorrow. Yes. So I'm going to end with that. So tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, there will be another live lesson. Live again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you have questions about the English language, that is a good live stream for you to watch. It's not a lesson like this one. It's one where you can submit a question about how your learning is going, and I try to help you. You can ask questions about the English language. You can ask questions about how to pronounce something or anything like that, and I'm ready and willing to answer them. I think we're good. Going to wrap this up. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you have a good day. I hope this was a fun lesson for you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.